Hi, in this video I'm going to talk about the process of creating this book. I'm going to talk about how I selected my images, how I laid them out in software, and what I think of the final printed product. Now, I love a good photography book. Just look at my bookshelf behind me. I spend a lot of time reading other people's photography books. But it's only recently that I've just gone through the process of creating my first landscape photography book for my own personal use. I did this featuring some of the pictures that I took in the Isle of Skye, which is a photography trip that I took last year. Now, I really enjoyed that process, but I didn't anticipate creating another book so soon. But I happened to be browsing social media and I saw an advert from Saal Digital, and they were offering vouchers for anyone who wanted to try out their professional line of photo books. So I applied and I got one. And I was really pleased to see it came with no terms and conditions other than I had to use it by a certain date. So when I do come to express my opinions on the quality of the book, these are my own opinions. But the video is going to be split up into three rough sections. We're going to do image selection, image layout, and I'm going to share with you my thoughts on the final printed quality of the book. Now, if you're not interested in some of those sections, in the video description below, you'll find some time codes so you can jump about the video. But we're going to start off with image selection. I filmed this a couple of days ago. I thought I'd do it while I was waiting for the book to arrive, so you will see a slight change of clothes. But I do hope you enjoyed that next section, and I'll see you in a bit. Okay, the first stage of the book creation process will be to select my images. Now, I use Adobe Lightroom, so all my images are already fully catalogued and star rated and keyworded, so it's going to make this process of selecting which photographs I want to put into the book a lot easier. So I will be using Lightroom to show you, but of course if you, whatever digital asset management tool that you happen to use, or however you have your photographs organized, will determine how you go about your picture selection process. But you know, a lot of people do use Lightroom, so this should hopefully be valuable to quite a few of you. Now, as I said, the key thing for making this process easier for me is actually having them all organized. So I've done a video on how I organize my Lightroom catalog, so I'll pop a link for that up in the corner of the screen. Now, when I started out this book project, I wasn't quite sure what the scope of the book was, what photographs it was going to contain. So the first thing I really did was I just selected a whole bunch of images that I wanted to potentially put into the book. So the first thing I'm going to do is create a collection in Lightroom, and I'm going to put a lot of those pictures in there. So why don't we go into Lightroom and I'll show you what I do. So the first thing I'm going to do is create a collection set so I can store multiple collections within it, and we're just going to call this one Saal Book. And then in there, I'm going to create my first collection, and we're just going to call it Book Pass 1. So I've got my empty collection. I'm going to start populating it with the photographs that I want to consider. So straight off the bat, I'm going to select all my 4-star and 5-star landscape images. Now this is quite easy for me to do because I already have a sort of collection that holds all my images that are 3 stars and above. So going to my star rating collection here, I've got one here that says 3 stars and above. I can go down and I can change the filter option, and I can say I want that to be greater than or equal to 4 stars. So this is showing me all my 4 and 5-star images, so I'm going to select them all now and put it in that collection that I've just created. So there I've already got 105 images to select from. What I'm going to do now is going to change that filter just to show me the 3-star images, and I'm just going to go through that collection of images, see anything else that catches my eye, because sometimes you rate an image and think, well, actually that actually might get changed a bit later on down the line. So I would just want to have a quick look through my 3-star images in case there's anything there that I've maybe misrated, or I might just want to include it in the book anyway. So I need to change that to 3 stars equal to, so that's only the 3-star images. And I'm just going to go through, just having a look at the images, see what catches my eye. I'm not particularly paying too much attention about which images I'm picking, just images that I recognise, or I think, yes, that might make a good one to include. And then once I've got all those selected, I put that into my first pass collection as well. Now that I've done my first pass, I've got about 191 images, which is probably going to be quite a lot. Now this is actually a very similar process I take for when I'm actually selecting my images for competitions. I generally have a quick casual first pass, chuck loads of images in, and then I move on to the second pass. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to duplicate that collection, and then I'm going to go through and start deleting the images and try and narrow down that number of photographs to something a bit more manageable. So I'm going to take this pass 1, I'm going to do duplicate, and I'm going to rename that pass 2. So I've got an exact copy of all the images that were in the first pass, but this time I'm going to go through and I'm just going to start removing images from the collection. Now normally, I've sped this up a little bit, normally I would actually create the first pass and then maybe leave it, I don't know, a few days and then come back to it with a fresh pair of eyes. So I'm just going to spend a little bit of time going through there and removing the images, so I should hopefully end up with my final selects. Okay, so I went through there and deleted a whole pile of images, and I'm down to probably should be my final, I think it's 104 images I've got there. Now, as I lay these out in the book, I may add in other images, I may remove some other images, but this for me, I think is the point where I think I've got the right photographs for the book. It's also now at this point, I have decided hopefully on what the theme of the book is going to be. I'm looking at the date range of photographs I've got. They're over about a 10-year period, so I'm going to do it from 2009 to 2019. I've decided to exclude everything from 2020 that I've captured so far because I want to do a separate end of year book for that, and I'll probably carry that process on for future years. So this is where the retrospective thing comes into play. So I think 100 images is probably a good number. I might not put one to every page, I might group some of them up. But this is where the grouping actually starts, so I'm going to start dividing the book up into sections. Now, even though this is just a personal book, I feel for a book this size, I want to group the kind of images into categories or to sections. So I've decided to create a number of sections, and what I'm going to do, I'm going to create a collection for each section, and then I'm going to drag the images into that collection so I can work with those individual collections as the sections in the book. I'll show you what I mean. So this is my second pass collection here. I've got a number of Dartmoor images, so I'm going to create a collection, and I'm going to call it Book Dartmoor. And the way I can populate that quite easily is if I go into my second pass collection, I can go into text. And again, I can do this easily because I've done all the keywording for the images already. So I'm going to searchable field, I can type in Dartmoor. Now I can see all the Dartmoor images, so I just drag them straight into the collection. So I've got 19 Dartmoor images. So I'm going to do that for the rest of the categories. I'm going to do one for the South West Coast path. I'm going to do another one for Scotland. And I'm going to carry on doing that, creating collections and categorizing the images. You get the general idea. And that's going to, like I say, help me with the structure of the book. Now that I've got all my final selects done, I've got all the images categorized, and I know what sections they're going to be into, I just need to export them out, and I'll probably do that using high quality JPEGs at maximum resolution. They're going into a book, so I want the best quality I can get. Once I've done that, we'll be jumping onto the book editing software, and we'll see how we go about placing the books into the layout. Right, let's move on to the exciting bit of the process, and that's actually getting your images into the photo book. Now, the Saal software, that's the book designing software that allows you to place your photographs where you want them. It's nice and easy to use, and you just go to their website and you download it and you install it onto your computer. And what we're going to do is we're going to take you through the process of actually creating a new book. So I'm going to open up the software, and we're presented with a number of different options. I want to do a photo book. I want to do one of the Photobook professional lines. Now, if you want to find out about any of the costs of all these various different book options, all the prices are available on Saal's website. And also it's quite handy during the software, as you add more pages and images, it gives you a running cost of how much your book's going to cost you. I'm going to go for a 30 by 21 landscape book here. Now, there are some really nice options here. Obviously, they can impact the cost of the book, but the ones I'm going to go for is I'm going to go for an acrylic cover with a leather binding, and if you hover over any of the options, it obviously tells you what they're all about. I want the cover surface to be leather black. I am going to go for high-end matte paper. It tells me a little bit about it there. One of the things that appeals to me about the matte paper is it doesn't it handles fingerprints quite well. It says no fingerprints there, rather than a high glossy paper. I'm not going to do a gift box at this time, and we're just going to click on design, and they'll take us straight into getting our book ready. So we've got our blank book here. Now, first page you always get is obviously the cover page. Now you can just drag a photograph onto here. I have got one of my photographs. It's one of my commended images from Scottish Landscape Photographer of the Year. I've already gone into Photoshop and I've already added in the title of the book, so I've got that image all prepped and ready to go. So just drag it on, and then I just need to grab the handles. Just need to resize it appropriately and get that in the center. In this instance, I'm not bothered, there's a little bit of cropping either side of this image, and that's me got my cover set. Now, I've already used the browsing software and I've found all my images here. These are all the ones that I exported from Lightroom. So really it's just a matter of adding pages and trying out the different layouts and sort of dragging and dropping the pictures straight into the book layout. It's really quite easy. So if I go on to the next page, I've got a couple of blank pages here. On the right hand side, you've got lots of little templates should you see fit, but personally I just like to drag and drop the images into blank pages. So for example, the first section I want to do is the one on published images. So these are the photographs that I've had published in magazines and competition books. So the first image I'm going to put in is this one of Luscantire Beach. I'm just going to do this quite quick and easy. I'm not going to take too much time about it. I can use some of the justification tools here for centering it horizontally and vertically. I'm maybe going to put another one of my Scottish Landscape Photographer of the Year photographs in there as well. Got one here, I think somewhere of Stobderg. There it is, put that in there. Drag that out to be, and you notice as a drag, it gives me some nice guidelines to indicate that the shape sizes are the same, if I can get this right. Drag this out a bit. There we go, there's a blue line. Put that in the center. And then I've quickly laid out two pictures for the first couple of pages of my book. I can also add some text to give myself some descriptions if I want. Grab the text tool, going to move this down here a bit. I want to have black text, Luscantire Beach. And I'm going to reduce the font size right down, I think to 14, like that. And then I'm going to move it, and I can change the font and the other types of formatting as well. Move there, and again those little blue guidelines are really handy and allow me to line it up like so. And then really it's just a matter of going through all those pictures and laying them out, which I obviously have already done. So what I'm going to do is, rather than show you me laying out all the pictures, would be rather dull, but there's lots of different formatting options. I'm going to open up the book that I've already sent off to Saal for printing, and we'll cover off what that looks like. Okay, so I've got my final book layout loaded up here, and I can go through some of the pages and show you some of the creative decisions that I've made with the photographs. As I said when I was doing the Lightroom catalog management, I was going to group the images into different sections, and this is what I've done here. So on this page here, I've selected for a black background with white text, and then the rest of the pages will just be white backgrounds with photographs on it. So you'll be able to see quickly as you scan through the book where the new section starts and finishes. So this is my published work section. This is where I've got all the photographs that have appeared in, like I say, competitions or magazines. I've been placing text down here as well. I've not gone for full text descriptions because it is, again, a book for my own personal use. So I've just decided to have where the picture was taken and when it was taken as a reminder to myself. I'll choose some of the more interesting layouts as you go through the book. So here, for example, I've got two images on both sides of the paper, two images, two vertical, two horizontal. So you get an awful lot of flexibility with this software, I have to say. It's been, once I got used to how it all hangs together and works, I actually found the drag and drop interface and the ability to resize quite intuitive and quite flexible. Go into the Dartmoor section, and this we can see is the first of the pages where I've used one of my panoramic images to cover off both sides of the paper. So I'm quite looking forward to seeing how that looks in the final product. I'm not going to go through the entire book. So all in all, I've done 80 pages of this book, and the cost, it tells you the cost down there, it was £136, but obviously with my voucher that's come down quite a bit in price. So it's quite a big book, but it is a retrospective, and this will be the one and only time I do such an extensive book of all my landscape photographs. But I've already sent away this order. I'm quite excited about being able to have a look through the book and seeing what the final product is like. But hopefully I've shown you it's actually the difficult bit, or the tricky bit, is actually selecting your images, and then once you've got your images and you know what the format of your book is, actually this bit of the process where you're just putting the images in, it's actually quite a relatively straightforward process, because for most photo books it tends to be a reasonably simple layout. But like I say, yes, I'm real excited about getting my book, so I'll see you when that arrives. Okay, I hope you found that interesting, but let's do the most exciting bit now, and let's take a look at the book, which has just arrived. Okay, here we have it, and I have to say, it's mighty impressive. Yeah, I'm a big fan of the printing your images, but again, getting these in a book is absolutely, it's a different experience really, and I'm really impressed with the way this has come out. So if you look at the front here, we've got this acrylic cover here, and my image here looks absolutely stunning. The glass, or the acrylic I should say, it's lovely and thick, so it gives the book a nice bit of weight. It makes it feel substantial, and then got this leather binding here around the back there as well. So, you know, even the first impressions on the outside of the book are really nice. And then if we jump into the book, we have a look at some of the pictures. These are all printed on the matte paper. So if we look at my image here, this is my Scottish landscape photographer commended image that I got this year, and it looks absolutely brilliant. The colours have come out right. I mean, it looks exactly the way I processed it on screen. It's come out really nicely. And then if you look at maybe some of this is an image here from Venford Falls and Dartmoor, quite a contrasty scene. There's lots of blacks in there, and I think it's come out really well. I can still see all the detail in the photograph. But then even if you look at something maybe a bit more saturated, like this one, all the colours are there. Even though it's a matte paper, the image still looks vibrant. I've really liked that. And then there's some really, the bits that I also like as well, if I can just find them here. There is these panoramic images there, if I can just get them all in camera. It's really good that the book lays flat as well, so when I lay that out, I get the full experience of the panoramic image. So having a look through this book, really impressed with the quality. It's got lots of weight about it, and the images have printed out beautifully. An expensive exercise like printing your own photography books for personal use is, but for me this is absolutely fantastic. It's the first time I've collated all my images from the last 10 years together in one place. So yeah, while I spent, you know, a bit of money even with the voucher, it was well worth doing. Okay, so as you can tell, I'm pretty happy with the way this book has turned out there. Now it's on my bookshelf. And I really like it for two reasons. So first of all, it is the first time I've collected all these images from the last decade together into one book. So from a personal point of view, it's really good to have this in a book, and I can look back on it and I can see how my photography has progressed, or look at some of my favourite images. It's a really good, rather than having individual printed images, it's really good to have the book there. From a quality point of view, I mean, I think Saal Digital have nailed it there. So this is one of their professional line books. I've gone for the acrylic and leather cover option. It's also printed on their high-end matte paper, which they say I think is about the equivalent of about 280 GSM, I think it is. But the way that that's all been bound together, and the way the print quality is, and the lay flat nature of the book, for me it kind of ticks all the boxes. So will I do another one? Yes, I almost certainly will. Probably what I'll do is I'll do something at the end of the year. So when I do my image review for 2020, I'm going to collate those images together and I'm going to create another book. I'm probably going to do it with Saal Digital again, because there's another couple of options I want to have a look at. So I might go bigger because there'll be less images, but I'm also going to look at potentially doing a full leather cover. I might try the glossy paper. And I'm also probably going to try one of their gift boxes as well, and I'm going to try and make it a bit special, and I'll maybe carry that on year for year, so I have a kind of portfolio book for every year, so 2020 and 2021 and going forward. So this is not the end of my journey there. There's lots of different options I can select. I can also use InDesign as well. I might have a little play about with that and design the book out using that rather than Saal's own software. But using the software, absolutely fine. Great experience, nice and easy, dead intuitive, so I didn't really have any problems there. But I know it's good to try different things, so I might have a wee look at InDesign as well. So overall, extremely happy, definitely comes recommended. I mean, I know these things are expensive, but it's just such a great way to have a look at your own photographs, and well worth doing. So even if you do like a big book with all your photographs or something on an annual basis and you do it occasionally, absolutely well worth doing it. Well, I do hope you've enjoyed this video, but more than that, I hope it's inspired you to do something similar, to maybe create your own photography book. Your images will come alive when you print them. You know, people who watch this channel will know that I'm a big fan of printing and how much it inspires my photography and how much more I appreciate my photographs when they're in printed form. So, you know, it's a great way to view your photography, you know, rather than just keep them all on a hard drive, a bunch of image thumbnails. Do something creative with your photograph. Even if you only do it once and you do it big, create something like a photo book. You will appreciate it, and it'll be just something you can just look back on and pull off your shelf and have a look through your images. So it's well worth doing, and I hope this video has inspired you to do it as well. But that's it for me. I'll include some links to my other videos and then maybe a playlist, but I do hope you've enjoyed it. And if you have, please do give it a thumbs up, leave me a comment, subscribe, share, all that good stuff. But until the next one, I'll see you then.